How often do you sit down to write an email or create an Instagram post just to assume it won't work? This right here is the biggest thing slowing you down from getting the clients you want and hitting the income goals you have. Because here's the thing, you come up with this plan to grow and market your business. You understand the identity you need to have to hit this goal. Hint, hint, that was in episode 20 of the last episode of the podcast. But at the end of the day, you still think that it won't work or that what you create won't be enough to help you to actually hit your goals and book the clients that you want to have. I've experienced it. I've helped my clients navigate this helpless feeling. And what I want to break down for you today is not only what's happening in your head, but give you some practical strategies so you don't have to stay in this helpless feeling. Because I really want you to feel as if your marketing is going to work and it's going to get you the exact clients that you want and help you to easily hit those income goals you have. Now, before we really get into it, I want to break down what's happening in this non-business example, just because I think it's a little bit easier for us to understand and see clearly how this mindset that we have is really holding us back. So when I was still working in marketing for the concrete industry, something that I had to do a lot was set up booths for these week-long trade shows in various cities around the country. So there was this one time I was setting up for a trade show, exhausted from travel, and everything just seemed to be going wrong. The booth wasn't coming together, pieces weren't fitting, and honestly, I just wanted to give up. And not like give up, like I want to go home, I quit, it's over. It was more like I kept thinking, well, this stand isn't really that helpful anyway. Do we really need it? Or saying out loud, like, oh, this display, I never liked it anyway. Why are we really trying to make this work? And it was just like these little thoughts that kept creeping up and creeping in and made me want to just not do anything. And really what was happening is that it made me think, why should I make any of this try to work? I'm sure this sounds familiar for any marketing things that you've put together. But thankfully, this time I wasn't at the trade show alone. There were other people that were on the marketing team that were there. And annoyingly, my team, they weren't giving up. They kept problem solving. They kept trying to be patient. They kept trying to look back and say like, okay, well, what have we done in the past and other times to get these things to work, to make it actually work out. If one of the pieces to a stand wasn't fitting, they looked to see if someone else had extra parts. If we were missing a tool to put a part together of the booth, they found something else or found someone else that might have had a tool to go and put it together. So me, I was ready for it to be half done. I was ready for it to just be like, let's give up. It's hopeless. Like, it's not going to work anyway. Let's just like not put it up, not even try. Whereas my team members, they were just like, okay, no, like, let's look back. Let's look through. Let's try to make this work. Let's put this together. And at the end of the day, because of them and their problem solving and really taking their time and being honest about like, okay, what is it that we can do? They put it together and the booth looked great and the show was a success. This exact scenario is what happens with you and your marketing. You start off with good intentions, but when things don't immediately click, that voice in your head says, see, knew it wouldn't work. You get tired, you start thinking of just doing part of the plan and thinking that's good enough. And then you start wondering, well, what if all the things that I have planned, like, what if that's not even worth it? Will it even get me the things that I want to have? Will it get me the clients I want? Will it get me the sales that I want? And this creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you assume it won't work, you don't put in the effort needed to make it work. It's like me trying to snap together these booth pieces when really I don't want to put the booth piece together anyway. I already called it helpless and hopeless and pointless. So of course, I'm not going to put it together. I'm going to bang it together like, it's not fitting, it's not working, because I don't want it to fit or work. I've already decided that it can't. So I'm sure you're like, Danielle, nice story, great story. But I am feeling hopeless because I have tried everything and it is not working. So let's pause right there. First of all, I do not want to discredit any of the work that you've done so far. I know that you're putting in the work. I know that you're thinking about, here are these things that I can do. Here are things that other people are doing. How can I adjust this to make it work for me? I know that that's what you're going through and doing. And I also know that you're going through and saying like, oh my gosh, I've tried this. I've tried that. I've tried this. I've tried this other thing. Nothing's working. Nothing's happening. But I need you to be honest. Have you really tried everything? And I'm not saying this in some like gaslighting, just like you haven't tried everything. But really, I want you to ask yourself, have you tried everything with the level of focus and commitment that has lasted more than a few weeks? Or have you tried for a bit and then just given up because you didn't see results that you wanted after a short amount of time? And here's an even tougher question. Did you find something that works and decided not to do it because it felt too hard? I really want you to be honest with yourself. This is a little bit of a tough one, because when you're feeling hopeless like this, something that feels hard, you're just like, I guess this could work, but this is too much. And this hopeless feeling gets you feeling tired, and you don't want to do things that feel super tough when you are hopeless and tired. I get this. I understand that. And that's why I want you to do this exercise that I have coming up for us. Because this hopeless feeling, it can get us being stuck. We can stay there for a long time. And it's not just like that depressed type feeling, although like you really know it when you are there. But it's like levels and degrees to it. And I feel like I should talk about this another time. But when you start feeling and thinking like, oh, well, this won't work. I don't think that will work. I'll put something out there. I doubt it's going to work. All the way to like it's depressed. I'm ready to give it up, burn it all down because nothing will ever work. Everything in between. When you are not being honest with yourself, like, have I truly done things for a good period of time and really thought it through and looked back and done all of these other things, you're not going to see how things can work. And when you become honest, you start to see where there are other areas that you can try, other strategies that you can look into, other alternatives to things that you might have tried, but not in this particular way. So take a second, reflect, be honest with yourself, get a journal out, or go on a walk and really think through, have I tried everything? Have I tried things for a good enough period of time? Or was I like super on it and committed for about 2.5 weeks and then things weren't clicking the way that I wanted and then started to go and do something else and was not consistent with things? Like, truly be honest with yourself about that. And once you're able to be honest with yourself about that, then we can start going on and doing the next thing. And this next exercise is focused on remembering the times where things did work in your business, no matter how large or how small. And I want you to do this because right now you are thinking that nothing works, that there is no proof of things will work in the future because nothing's working in the past. So like, why would I even look there? I get it. But what I need you to do is I need you to look at what's worked in the past and use that as proof of what could be in the future. I remember doing the same thing with one of my clients. She's a service provider and she was finding marketing her business so difficult. She had to balance delivering VA work for her clients with marketing for their businesses while also marketing for hers. And she just seemed like nothing was working that she was doing today. And it was getting her feeling so helpless. And when she signed on to work with me and I took her through this exercise, the first thing that we did was go and look back at what has worked in the past. I'll be so honest with you. She was trying to fight me. She really wanted to fight me and say that nothing really worked for her in the past, which is wild because I just said that she was trying to balance delivering VA work and marketing their business, which then to me says something does work, something did work. How can we repeat that? But she didn't want to own up to that. And I get that, and that's why we do this exercise. So when I took her through my process, I got her to see and actually recognize the things that did work for her to get clients. And she said that she found her first few clients by being active in one of her online communities. She got referrals from members in this community, and some of the people who were actually in it decided to work with her. And then she realized that she hadn't shown up in this group in months, although it was one of her biggest ways of getting clients. So I want you to do the same exercise. I want you to go through and think, okay, was I going live on Instagram like pretty regularly and then I stopped doing that and my visibility went down because of that? Was I sending emails very regularly, but then like life happened and I had a good flow of clients for a bit, and then without me noticing or realizing, things started to dry up, and it was because I had stopped doing this. Like, I really want you to think through, go down and say, what were the things that worked? Whether it got you one client, whether it got you more visibility, whether it got you more shares. I want you to go through and see what were those things that worked. And then I want you to go through and see, why did you stop doing it? Do you think you outgrew that community that you used to be so active in? Do you think you shouldn't have to ask your personal network for referrals anymore? Do you think you shouldn't need to do any of this stuff and it should just be clicking and happening without you needing to put all this work into it? Those are the reasons why you're feeling hopeless in your marketing. And with the list that you created of all the things that have worked for you in the past, you now have proof that something can work. For coaches and solo business owners, marketing is about mindset and data. And data helps to support your mindset. And right now, when you are feeling as if nothing is working, nothing is happening, you're pulling from the data of no new clients in 6 months, no new clients in 3 months, no new clients in however much time. And really, the data that you need right now is the data of what has worked. But when you're feeling hopeless, that is not what you are pulling from. And so this exercise right here is helping you to build up data of like, here are proven things that have worked for me to get clients. That is what you need most right now. So go back. I really need you to stop and go back and do this. It can be something as big as that time that you signed multiple clients in 1 month, or it can be looking back at the time where you had real views of 150 typically, but there were a couple that got more than 500 and some shares, and looking back as to why those things worked. The next thing that you're going to want to do is come up with reasons why this strategy is going to work for you today. Because what's going to happen is you're going to say like, okay, I'm being honest with myself. I have or have not tried everything. Okay, here are the things that have worked in the past. The next thing that's going to come up with you is that, okay, but that was then and this is now, and it's not going to work for me today. I need you to clean this up. When you are in the thick of feeling hopeless about your marketing, you really want to hold on to all the reasons why it won't work today. Because that was the past. That worked in the past. You're thinking that has no bearing on what's going to happen today and going forward because the economy is different. The industries change. Buying habits are different. So the things that worked before, they can't work today. That's what's happening in your mind. And I'm not even going to front. There are going to be some things where it's just like, yeah, exactly like that. Maybe you're going to have to change some things. But where you're at right now is you're not doing any of those things. Not doing anything to even combat that. What I need you to do is start thinking about ways that this strategy that you did before can work today. How can it work today? And your brain's going to want to hold on to all the reasons why that it can't work. So I say lean into it. You just told me to focus on the positive. Trust me on this one. First, lean into it. List out all the ways that it won't work. List them all out. Just go for it. Go ham on it. And then once you've exhausted that, once you've come up with every single reason and idea that your brain says that you can't do this strategy, once it feels satisfied, because your brain will feel satisfied after it gets everything out, I then want you to tell yourself and say, okay, but if I did want this to work, what would I start doing? And start thinking positive. You would be so surprised. I do this myself often because people are always saying like, well, think positive, do all these positive things. I can't just jump there. I personally can't do it. My brain needs to say like, no, I am right. Here are all the negative reasons why. And it feels so satisfied when I go through and list out all the reasons why it can't. And then my body, my nervous system, whatever, it feels so much better afterwards that it can then say safely like, well, I guess since I have all this stuff out, I guess I can experiment with like why it could work. Do that first. If you find it difficult going straight into like all the reasons why it could work, just list out all the negative reasons why first. And then you have to do that second part afterwards though, like immediately afterwards. You need to go into the positive of all the reasons why it will work. And when you do this, because I've seen it time and time again, it can spark so much hope for you and your marketing. It can bring back that determination that having your own business is possible. That feeling of like it's possible for me to be able to call in clients who are excited to work with me. It can bring back that feeling of like, oh, I can't support myself with this business. I've worked with my clients to navigate this feeling, and I've had them to rediscover strategies that worked for them to sign up clients again. I've seen my clients who did IG lives in the past decide that, okay, well, maybe like the lives aren't getting the reach that they once did before, but actually I'm going to put myself out there and teach workshops and get clients that way. And it worked for them. I've seen clients realize that, you know what, posting, like it's just not working for me anymore. But actually going back and looking back at what has worked for me before, networking and connecting with people has worked. So I think I'm going to sign clients that way. And then when we work together one-on-one, we come up with a strategy of how to really make that work. All of this happened because my clients didn't give in to that hopeless feeling. I helped them to see what worked for them in the past and what things can be tweaked and changed to create a strategy to get the clients booked in that they want, that really fits their style of who they are and their strengths. So here's the thing. This hopeless feeling, of feeling like things it won't work, this isn't just for people who have just started their business. This happens to people at all different levels, phases, and stages. And going through this process of being completely honest with yourself, of seeing, okay, what have I done? Have I truly done everything? Starting off there, looking back, seeing what your past successes were, what are those things that you did, and coming up with reasons why, okay, if this worked in the past, how can a variation of this work in the future? Doing those three things is really going to help your business go forward. It's going to help you come up and spark ideas of what's possible, how to market differently, how to show up in ways that you hadn't previously thought about because you were so sunk in deeply into that feeling of hopelessness and dread and feeling as if it's not going to work. But when I work with my clients one-on-one, I help them to see the light, see that it's possible, see that their dream of being able to work with and help so many people is possible. I've been able to help my clients see clearly the things that have worked with them in the past and help them to create a strategy that will get them the clients that they want. Right now, I'm currently accepting new one-on-one clients. I truly believe that right now is the perfect time for you to start focusing on your marketing, creating a strategy that works for you based off of your style, and start booking clients even if you haven't booked someone in months. Go to the link in the show notes and book a call to talk with me. I would love to go over how we could create a plan that works for you and plays off of your strengths and where it's worked for you in the past. All right, I'll talk to you next time. If you want more marketing that works right in your inbox, head to the show notes and sign up for the email list. You'll be the first to know how you can work with me on mastering your marketing.